Hey, how are you guys doing today? Well, you at home, people here, we have a special guest, the one, the only, Spencer Harris. Spencer, how are you doing today?
I'm great. We're currently sitting second in the league in our first year back in League One for 20 odd years. What's not to like?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And you are wearing the combo sports hat today. You have the Wrexham on the heart, but the Jets on the head, on the
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. It's been great. I'm sure we'll talk about Wrexham versus Leighton Orient today shortly. But it's the Broncos at MetLife or JetLife
Yeah.
Stadium tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to hopefully another Aaron Rodgers masterclass.
Yeah, jet life. I like that. I like that. Eshe, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Scrappy draw today. But point's a point. So I'll take it.
Yeah, $20 is
Yeah.
$20. You're exactly
Yeah.
right on that
Yeah.
point. Well,
I
eh, yeah. Go ahead, Eshe.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I had a couple people when he said that Spencer was gonna come on that were like, "How come the Jets? Like, how'd you get into that?"
Oh,
Oh, the
okay.
Jets. Jets. Well, somebody when I was around 15, 16 gave me a Jets t-shirt, and that was the curse. Because as we know, the Jets for many, many years have sucked, really. But, uh, but this year I've got high hopes that
Yeah,
they could go a deep run in the playoffs. But let's see.
that was a good answer. However, the correct answer was when you're a Jet, you're a Jet. Anybody?
Well, we could do the JETS chant, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I'll leave that.
Well, anybody that does not know who Spencer is, feel free to watch the previous episodes featuring Spencer and also everywhere else that you've seen Wrexham throughout the docuseries. Or if you visited Wrexham, you will have known. If you're local, you know who he is. And also defending Wrexham table tennis champion of the world. So, uh,
Not quite.
thank, thank you so much, Spencer, for joining us. We do need to know what you have been up to since last we seen you, and I hope there was some holidays mixed into it because you are a busy man.
Of all sorts. I think the best thing I've done since I was last on the show, ran apart from watching Wrexham win back-to-back promotions.
Whew.
Um, so I think that's got to be right up there. I went on a great holiday, starting off in Miami, went around the Caribbean, and then headed up to Charleston, which is one of the most beautiful places I've been to. Charleston is fantastic if you get a chance to go there. And then ended up in New York, which was obviously home of the one and only Jets, which was great to spend some time in Manhattan. So yeah, that's probably the highlight, the two highlights of the last 12 months.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing trip. When you were off season, probably from Inter Miami playing, or were you on season for the Messi
So
tour?
so it was around April time. So I did in fact miss a couple of Wrexham home games actually on that
Ooh,
trip. But I made sure I took my laptop with me and streamed them all. So I didn't actually miss a game. I just wasn't there in person.
yeah. Well, I you can't miss a game. If you do purposefully, I hereby revoke the permanent access to the pod. I'm going to screw up every word. I'm sorry, guys. uh, SJ, I know you had some questions for Spencer. What did you have in mind?
Well, since you're talking about watching matches away from home and stuff, I was just curious, what your favorite, I guess, season overall that you've been a fan, but also what your favorite away stadium to play, like watch a match play that the team has played at?
Well, it's a very interesting question. Let me start with my favourite ever Wrexham away game. And this goes back to I think it was 1994. It was either 94 or 97. I think it was 1997. I stand corrected. And Wrexham made a run to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup that year. And on the way in the third round, we played Peterborough United away on a Tuesday night. And there was about 2,000 Wrexham fans travelled all the way to Peterborough on a Tuesday night, and the game had absolutely everything. I don't condone pitch invasions, but there were pitch invasions. There was mass celebrations, and Wrexham won the game 4-2, and the goals were just fantastic. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, and that's my favourite ever Wrexham away match at London Road in Peterborough, just because the atmosphere was so great. I've seen us playing in bigger and better stadiums than London Road, but there was something magical about that particular night. And then I think there's lots of different seasons I could point to which have been really special, but I think you have to go for promotion seasons as being really special. So I'll go back in time a little bit when Wrexham got promoted in the late 90s out of division, what is now Division 2, into the division we're in currently, and we had Gary Bennett and Steve Watkin up front, and it was just I was a lot younger then and travelling around the country, and the last away game of the season we won at Northampton Town, not in the current ground. They used to, really interesting, Northampton Town used to share their ground with Northampton County Cricket Club. So there was a huge cricket pitch on one side, and then there was a football pitch and 3 stands round the football stadium. But the cricket pitch was to the side of it. It was quite incredible, actually. But that's where Wrexham actually got promoted, and again there was thousands of Wrexham fans there, and we all were on the pitch at the end, and so that season was great. So that's right up there. But I do think the season that we got promoted out of the National League, for many, many reasons. One, we'd been down in the National League for so many years, 15 years, trying to get out of it. Got close several times, never quite managed it. It's probably the hardest league in football to get promoted from. There's only one gets promoted, and we'd only ever won one championship in 150 years before that season. So that shows you how hard it is to win a championship. You can get promoted in second or third in the football league, but to win a championship is really, really difficult. So I think that season will take some beating.
Yeah. What some people, maybe some of the international fans, which is a lot of our viewers, may not realize is a lot of football teams came out of cricket teams. And there was the something to do, keep yourself warm and entertain during the summer. So one of your favorite matches being side by side with a cricket match, like for us international fans, that might seem odd. Like, why are they just right next to each other? But for a lot of time, that has been hand in hand. For you, are you a cricket watcher at all?
I would prefer to watch paint drying on a wall if I was if I was honest. Ran. A very good friend of mine loves cricket, but it's so slow. I just and I was also terrible at it as well. So
yeah.
So cricket is not one of my loves. No.
Fair enough.
That's the best answer.
Yeah. Which there was it a YouTube video that was like 8 hours or something of paint drying, and just to prove a point of like anybody could make anything popular. At one point in time, it had like the most likes or something to dislike ratio of a video over 1 million or something like that. It was, somebody will correct me, but just to prove a point of like, hey, you can make anything with marketing become popular.
It was probably all the people sat in county cricket grounds around England who actually had that on their phone because it was more entertaining.
they're at the game with their phone pulled up, just what? Ooh, oh, I think it's dry. I think it's dry. Well, inevitably,
How can
we
you
do
play a sport for 5 days and nobody wins?
5
You know
days?
that. Yeah, so
Oh,
a test match can last for 5 days, and very often it can end in a draw. So that's yeah, not for me.
Yeah, and SJ, I don't want to scare you, but in baseball, a game can go to 15 innings, and if
Yeah.
it remains in a tie, it continues the next day. They close it out for the day, and then continue in the next day, or a draw for the non-American audience. And so the longest game in recorded baseball history was some ridiculous time. I don't remember, but it was something like 18 innings, which equates to somewhere over 15 hours of baseball. It could have been more. I don't remember, but not even close to cricket. You don't take the challenge to that. I won't say paint drying, but I will say if you aren't raised as a young person watching a sport like that, it's pretty hard to get into later on if you haven't been like raised to watch it, like an acquired taste type of thing. Spencer, I do have to ask the hard questions. We gave you the softballs. I do have to have the hard one. I apologize up front for any disrespect for these hard-hitting questions. But who's your player of the season so far this season?
So far, it's so early in the season. It's really difficult to pick out one individual. But I think let's put a few contenders out there for different reasons. So I think if you start in the defence, I think Max Cleworth, who's unfortunately gone off injured today, he scored 3 goals so far this season as a centre half. That's a great return in just 8 games, I think it is now. He's not let much past him. A young lad who was in our youth system when I was part of the operational running of the club. So I've got a soft spot for Max anyway. But I think he's had an excellent season. Then you move into midfield, and I think Dobson has come in and really proved his worth. Breaks up play. He's definitely got sort of the best batteries of he's using the most expensive batteries in for him, because he gets around the pitch and has done really well. And I thought Cannon has had a tremendous start to the season up until he got injured. That he's not come back quite as on fire as he was before injury, but before the injury I thought Cannon was superb. And of course, then if you look at the top end of the pitch, then Marriott 4 goals. The work rate around the pitch has been tremendous. And then a special mention for Ryan Barnett as well, who's got an amazing that trick that he uses to get the ball in. They all know what he's going to do, but no one can stop him.
Yeah, Steph Curry with the shot. You know what he's going to do, but you can't do anything about it. It's he's still going to do it to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he's had a tremendous start to the season, and if you think, if you look at those players, 2 out of those 4 players have grown with us from the National League to this level. Cannon, I guess you could say. So three were Cannon, actually. I misplaced Cannon there. So Cannon, Cleworth and Barnett have all were with us in the National League and have grown with us through to League One. So
I was when I was looking at the team sheet today for and they're doing the starting for the players for the starting. Uh, I was thinking, you know, there's so many players that were in the starting 11 last year. We made all these great signings over the summer. And I think it's really commendable to Parky to be like, these players have gelled, and until one of them proves that, I mean, I'm assuming what he's thinking, then until one of the players proves that their performance level is not keeping up with the standard that we need to play in League One, I don't see those new signings just kind of getting thrown in just because. So, I think it just really shows how well the players that he recruited for the National League, it's like really paying off.
I think that's a really astute observation, Sarah. And I think it really shows the high performance team environment that Phil Parkinson and Steve Parkin and the staff have created at Wrexham, which is, you come in, it doesn't matter if you're a record signing, you earn your shirt, and then once you earn your shirt, then you've got to continue to earn it to keep it. And, the lads who started the season have got us to, up until today we were top, we're still second, but to be in second at this stage of the season, so, we're just shy of 20% of the way through the season already. I know that sounds, everybody thinks it's really early days. We've played 8 games, but every 4.6 games is 10% of the season gone. So, we're almost at 20% of the season gone. So to be up there competitive at this point with 17 points from 8 games, averaging more than 2 points a game, that is some return from a newly promoted team.
Spencer, you promised me no math today.
Sorry.
And no, it's a good way to break it down.
I was sort of talking the math. I promised I wouldn't ask you maths questions, Ryan. So.
and thank you so much. I already look a fool enough. I don't need to prove it in front of everybody. So what percentage is 4 games? I don't know. What percentage is 10%? I don't know. But now 4.6 every 4.6 games is 10%. Okay, I'm going to put that in the back pocket and save it. SJ, you had a question which a Welsh speaker is in front of us here. One of the questions you've been asking for weeks.
Yeah. So I have a bad ear for learning languages, and I have been practicing. There's this like kindergarten phonetic alphabet song for in Welsh to try to learn the language, and it's not sticking, but I'm still like listening to it every day. But I'm just wondering, when I went to the Whitecaps game in Vancouver and then they sang the Welsh national anthem, I was like, well, I'm in the English speaking world, and I was like, don't know all of them, and I know some of the words, so I was like, well, I'm gonna just like sing along. How acceptable would it be to sing the Welsh national anthem in English at the race course? Is that like a big no-no, or will I at least get a little bit of a nod for trying, or should I just like hum and not sing the words?
Well, that is a really tough question, that one. But the first thing I would say, Sarah, is for somebody from the background of another country to show the parch, which we would say in Welsh, the respect to our country and our language. And this isn't an anti-English piece at all, because I've got so many English friends. My grandfather was English, but when our bigger neighbour next door, England, tried for many, many years to eradicate our language, and from somebody from somewhere else to show us that parch, that respect for our language and our culture, is extremely well received, and we're extremely grateful to you and everybody who shows an interest in us, our country, our city as we are now, and our football club. So whatever you do when you're at the racecourse, you would be welcomed with open arms. However, people wouldn't normally sing. Yes, there's an English translation to the national anthem, and when you read it, you get a real sense of what it means, right? It really just really colloid ei gwaed, for freedom we lost our blood, which it shows you what that anthem is all about. So everybody would just say thank you, but it would normally just be sung in Welsh and not in English. So my advice would be hum along, and just the one bit where you can join in that everybody knows is in the chorus where people sing glad, glad, because glad is my country. So that's where the sort of the noise really ramps up in the chorus. So glad is quite easy to say, and it says it twice, so you can really belt that bit out. It's dead easy to learn.
Nice. It sounds like when I don't quite know a song and then I'm singing it in the car and then I'm like na 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 and they and
You've obviously been in my car as well then, because I do exactly the same thing.
Sarah,
nice.
SJ, I can say that my hack for that, and I don't know if this is controversial, is when I'm learning a song, I just sing the vowel parts first, and not the consonants, and I'll sing the vowels to kind of, because that's where usually on vowels is where people do louder parts or they do a run on the word, usually get stressed on the vowels, and then especially with Welsh being so much harder than our tongues and mouth are used to articulating. Like in my head, I've been trying to pronounce that respect over and over, and in my head, it's not coming through yet. So, parch,
yeah,
Parch.
Respect.
Okay.
Parch, P-A-R-C-H. But I wasn't brought up a Welsh speaker. I came from obviously a very proud Welsh home, but neither of my parents spoke Welsh, and I wasn't taught Welsh at home. Albeit, their relative, my great grandparents were Welsh speakers. But as I say, there was, speaking Welsh was frowned on. Unfortunately, which did a lot of damage to our language and our culture. But when I was 20, decided that I would make sure that I could speak my national language. So that's what I did. I went and did night classes, and I did an A-level of Safonwch, as we say in Wales, an A-level, and went to college and studied Welsh. And now I'm a member of the Gorsedd y Beirdd Ynys Prydain, which is the bards who opened the National Eisteddfod, which is the largest cultural festival in Europe, held right here in Wales.
And a bard is a wonderful class to play.
So the bard, the Gorsedd y Beirdd, if you look it up, it's probably difficult to spell, but it's Druidic robes basically, and so there's 3 different levels of the Gorsedd. There's like those who wear the white robes, and if you can imagine those, they're like the Premier League levels of the Gorsedd, and then you have people who wear blue robes, and that's like Championship. In football equivalent level of the Gorsedd y Beirdd, and then you've got people who wear Gwisg Gwyrdd, which is the green robes, and they're like National League level members of Gorsedd y Beirdd, and I'm in green. so there you go. But
my,
still, it's probably the greatest honour of my life actually to be a member of the Gorsedd y Beirdd.
how would I say like much respect, or like very much good respect for you in doing that?
Oh, llawer o parch,
Could you say that again?
llawer. It's like in Llangollen or
Okay.
Llandudno or Llai. It's a double L. Um,
Okay.
Oh,
llawer o. Now there would be a soft mutation to barch. Llawer barch is how
Okay.
you would say it.
So
So
flower.
so Klauer or Bach,
yeah, there you barch. Yeah,
Bach,
Who
yeah.
said it
There you
better?
go.
Yeah, I need to work on
Say
that part. Yeah,
yeah. Yep. So
or all of it.
the best when if you're speaking Welsh, best not stand directly in front of each other, otherwise we'll spit all over you. So
Well, my goal with learning the alphabet phonetically is that I can put some respect on when I try to say a name in Welsh, especially some of the teams we cover.
yeah.
Aberystwyth. I kept saying Aberystwyth, and I was like, I know that's not right. And then somebody pointed out that through the episode, I said it about 8 different ways. So I'm like, I at least want to be able to say a Welsh name like properly with respect. So I'm chipping away at the alphabet.
Well, just use the Welsh for Wrexham, which is Wrexham, and it's virtually the same. So you can do it, Sarah. You're already doing it really, really well.
And Sarah, there is learnwelsh dot Crymu cry I'm dyslexic, so I'm screwing this up.
Cymru,
Cymru.
Cymru, Cymru. Yeah,
Yeah. So if I didn't look at it spelled, I know the word, but I'm
yep.
looking at it spelled, and then I switch everything around, and now I'm just completely lost. Giving my phone number to people, if I have to say it out loud without looking at it, we might be here for an hour. It doesn't go well. But there is free courses, and I actually did a virtual course. And they do for the smaller, like entry levels, they do free virtual courses that you can go into like a live classroom, and you could talk back and forth. And then of course the higher levels end up there's some pay for some of those, but you can actually like talk and go back and forth with people to learn Welsh. Pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, it is cool. It's a really cool language, and just having an appreciation is wonderful. Interesting fact for you, um, my wife actually is the Welsh for Adults curriculum director for North East Wales. So she looks after all of the provision of Welsh language learning for adults across North East Wales. So I'm really proud of her for that. It's such a to my wife who's doing her bit to keep the language alive and to work towards our government's target of 1 million Welsh speakers by 2050.
Oof.
That's a it's something really good. So I'm really proud of her for that.
Does she do like a 2-week crash course in idiot American language? Because I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. And,
So there are some really interesting. There's a place up in North Wales called Nant Gwerthein, which is a Welsh language. It's like an old mining village that they've turned into an educational centre, and you can go and stay there and have immersive Welsh language lessons actually,
Wow.
and it's really, really good. And then there's a few places similar to that around North Wales, but yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing.
I had no clue. That is yeah, amazing. Exactly that goal of getting to the million, but then all the resources, and you can stay in a place where you can use it more frequently, because that immersion is
Yep.
so important.
Well,
Wow.
in some places, Wrexham not so much. Around 25 to 30% of people in the county borough speak Welsh. So the predominant language of the area is English. We're very close to the border. But if you go further west into Wales, you'll get to areas where Welsh is the first language spoken before English. Of course, everybody speaks English as well, but you'll get to areas where 60, 70, 80% of the population speak Welsh and use it as their first language every day.
Is that Carnarvon? Or
yeah, Caernarfon would be one of the strongholds
okay.
of the Welsh language. The Llyn Peninsula as well would be another area. Ynys Môn or Môn Mam Cymru. Ynys Môn is Anglesey, which is the big island just off the top of northwest Wales. And lots of people come from places like Ynys Môn or Anglesey to watch Wrexham games. In fact, my uncle, my dad's brother, lives on Ynys Môn. It's about an hour and 20 minutes drive away, and he comes to every Wrexham home game. He's got a season ticket from there. So lots of people come from all over North Wales to watch the mighty Reds.
Neil Williams has been like my de facto teacher, and he taught me how to say Cymru, which is come return to Wrexham. So
there you go.
yeah.
Well, very, very, very interestingly, actually, many people are talking about actually wanting to, adopt Cymru as the more generally used naming convention for our country, instead of people referring to it as Wales. Now, I'd love to see that as well, for Wales to be known as Cymru. And in fact, the Welsh national football team, if you look at their Twitter or their X handle, it's actually at Cymru. That's their Twitter handle, and they refer to the team as Cymru, not as Wales. Which is I love that. The Welsh national football team has got a real deep-rooted sense of its Welsh identity, and part of that comes from the communications director for the Football Association of Wales is a guy called Ian Gwyn Hughes. He used to be a presenter on the BBC. And he is a Wrexham fan, and his brother is a massive Wrexham fan as well.
Yes.
And his brother works for the college with my wife, teaching Welsh to adults. So it's all like so. Yes. When we were running a campaign to try and get the government to back our lottery or our application for levelling up funding to rebuild the COP, Ian Gwyn Hughes arranged for Gareth Bale to wear a top that we had with the website for people to go and log on and stuff before an international match. So it's good to have connections sometimes. But Ian Gwyn Hughes is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful human being.
How's that spelled? Is that a G in?
Yeah, Ian Gwyn Hughes. So GWYN. So Ian Gwyn Hughes. That's his name. He's the communications director for the Football Association of Wales.
And what's the website of the group with the adult learning for Welsh?
So if you look at Coleg Cambria, that's where my wife works, and that's who does the provision. But Nant Gwatheirn is NANT GWY.
I need a pen.
We'll have Spencer send us a link after, and
I'll send you a link after rather than take up too much of people.
Again,
they might want to listen and talk a bit about the football. Which is a good segue. Tip of the hat, respect to you, sir. I would try to say pach again, but I'll just keep screwing it up. But I'll get it eventually. I'm not giving up. Looking at this season as compared to the previous seasons,
where is the importance of, for you, our finishing position this season?
So if you go back 2 seasons and you go back to the National League, it was absolutely essential that we got promoted. Absolutely essential. There'd been significant investment by the owners, and our development as a club could only really come as part of the EFL. We had to get promoted, so it was great that that happened. This year, you can let me say before I say how important different things are, you cannot choose when you want to be promoted. You know, you can't say, pick, right, we'll get promoted in 2 years. What we're going to do, we're going to spend the next 2 years sorting out our stadium, sorting out training ground, and we'll do well in this division, but we're going to get promoted in 2 years. Football doesn't work that way. You get promoted when it comes. So you don't pick and choose. So if we can get promoted this season, happy days. The Championship is a much tougher division. Again, we saw playing Birmingham the other night, who've got a sort of top half Championship budget, and would probably, if they were playing in the Championship, finish in the top half of the Championship this season. We saw how good teams at that sort of level can be. When we played Blackburn last season in the Cup, we saw how good teams at that level can be. So it is a big step, but you don't choose it. So if we can get promoted, why not go for it? That being said, is it essential that we go up this season? No. And is the pressure on our players to go up this season? Absolutely not. There's a lot that needs to be done to sort of for the club to catch up with itself. But I've every confidence in Michael Williamson, our new CEO, who's come in. He seems to be a really great guy, lots of experience. Of course, he's worked in US soccer, he's worked in Italian football. My conversations with him, make me think that actually we've got somebody who's going to be pretty strategic at the head of our business. So I think he's a real step up from us, from what we've had previously. So I really look forward to where he takes us. But that's a very long, around the houses way of saying, don't think it's essential, but if we can get it, why not?
Yeah, for sure. SJ, go ahead, SJ.
Oh, I was just gonna say, getting out of the National League, there was such emphasis on how hard it was because only one automatic and one playoff. But I feel like that maybe, with the League One, it's only 2 automatic and 1 playoff, so it feels so similar. Like, not quite as dangerous or quite as hard, but I get the impression that it's not just the league the differences in the quality of the leagues or the difficulty of the leagues, but bridging that, you only get 1 extra chance to get in there. So I'm trying to pretend that it doesn't exist, and then we're gonna do it anyway. but yeah, having that just 1 extra promotion chance from
League Two is easier in that respect. But it's interesting if you think about League One. League One is the most difficult league in football to stay in. Why? Because yes, only 3 go up, but 4 go down. So that means in excess of 25% of all of the teams in League One change every year because 3 go up and 4 go down. So over 25% of the teams change every year. So if you don't go up, over a quarter of your teams, of your games, the following season will be against somebody new.
And you're constantly facing people coming down from Championship at a higher level.
Correct. And the difference in the financial difference between revenues from TV at the Championship level to League One are significant. 4 or 5 times more income, and if you look at the turnover of those clubs, you start coming up against clubs that are getting, we're doing brilliantly crowds at the moment. We're getting 13,500 there or thereabouts for most of our games now. But if you go up to the Championship, you're coming up against teams that are getting 28,000, 32,000. And in the sort of likes of Sunderland, around 40,000 for their games. You're talking, starting to be big crowds heading towards sort of Tennessee Titans levels. so yeah, it's really tough when you get up. When you get up a division, but then again, you've got teams like Bournemouth who are in the Premier League who get just over 10,000 for their home crowds, right?
Well, and hopefully, we rival the Titans or Barcelona with the 100,000 seaters. Get to that level.
Well, it could be great if let's see what happens with the development of the stadium. One of the companies who are interested in getting involved in the redesign of the stadium. I know one of the guys. He's a Wales fan, and his first ever game was watching football was at the racecourse. So his company is very interested in getting involved. And I spent some time with him. I went out for a meal and some beers with him at the World Cup in Qatar. When was that? 2 years ago now. Heck of a nice guy. So we know that things are progressing and that looking at how could they maximise the space around the racecourse to get the biggest capacity possible.
Yeah.
That actually leads me to, I don't know, my hardball question, because the other ones are so easy. There was a rumor that the student flats, the students were no longer going to be in the student flats, like this is the last year. Do you think that maybe, I mean, obviously a total rumor, do you think there's some kind of chance that the race course would be able to buy back those flats? I vaguely remember something about when they were built, and then the guy did the shady thing where it was supposed to stay within Wrexham ownership, but then he mortgaged against. I obviously don't know all the details, but I'm wondering if there's some legal wiggle room to say oh, actually you do owe us for this property that didn't happen.
So I don't have any secrets or nuggets to be able to share. The student flats are not owned by the football club, so should the football club ever want to use that land, whether they would or wouldn't is very much a matter for the football club, but that would have to be a commercial discussion with the owners of those flats to purchase that land, if indeed they ever wanted to do that. One of the things I would say is that the student flats are required, whether they're there or elsewhere, for Wrexham University, and I'm a big supporter of Wrexham University, because really without them, when the community or the Wrexham Supporters Trust took over the running of Wrexham Football Club, it was only made possible by Wrexham University purchasing the racecourse ground, its training ground, and then making it available for the football club to continue to play there at at a cost that it wasn't chicken feed, but at a cost that was affordable for the community to be able to run the football club. And they did all sorts of things to help us. So, for many years we had, because the university was known as Glyndŵr University back then. It's now, of course, known as Wrexham University. And we had a contra deal with shirt sponsorship. So we forwent some of the rent. We gave them the sponsorship rights in return for our shirts and things like that. But without the university, of course, the community and the supporters, but I count the university very much as part of our community here as Wrexham. Without them, there wouldn't be a Wrexham AFC, there wouldn't be the Hollywood dream that we have, and things would be very, very different for our city and for our region. So, God bless the university for what they did.
So it would be a total jerk move to try to swindle them out of it. That's what I hear you say.
I don't think swindling out of it would be possible, but who knows what the future may hold for the stadium. I know the owners are very ambitious for the redevelopment of the stadium, and if you're going to, it's a bit like the Kevin Costner film Field of Dreams, right? Build it and they shall come. Okay, so if we can have a really modern, because the racecourse is a brilliant venue. It is my church. It's where I go to worship, and many thousands of others go. But two of the stands, were built 40 and 50 years ago. The newest stand, if you take away the temporary stand where the Cop used to be, the newest stand was built in 1999 for the Rugby World Cup. So that's 25 years old. It's an aging stadium that was built at a time in which you didn't really think about non-match day use and how you maximise revenue and other things. So let's hope that the stadium development really game changes what Wrexham AFC is and what the matchday experience feels like.
Yeah, and I apologize if anybody took it when I was saying hopefully get 100,000 seater. That was not literal. It was just saying more seating available. But like to your point, it has to be sustainable. It has to be at a level that the community can sustain, and that it's not a position to where if you drop down leagues, that now you're stuck with this huge finance that you might not recover from.
Albatross. That's right. It's got to be. It's going to be a sensitive balancing act for the owners to make the decision on what that looks like. Having ambition, but at the same time, one of the wonderful things about the racecourse is it's full. And when it's full, it means the atmosphere is so much better. You see lots of grounds where maybe a team that has sort of been on its journey up, then when it's on its journey down, it's not quite as, the whole ethos and the feel of the stadium is not great. If you look at MK Dons, for example, who we played in the division last year, their previous owner built a 30,000-seater stadium for them, and they've only ever got 8,000. So it's less than a third full for all of their games, which means it can be a bit of a soulless ball. To be honest, It's a magnificent arena. If they could fill it.
It's because nobody likes them. They moved. They stole AFC.
Yeah, that's a very contentious, and of course,
we'll just cut that out. You don't need to comment.
Yeah, well, coming from community ownership, then I would very much be on the side of the AFC Wimbledon side of things. I think, to be fair to MK Dons fans as they exist today, then I don't blame any of them for what a small number of a small number of people on a board of directors of Wimbledon at the time will have done many years ago, but that should never have been allowed to happen. Certainly not in our league structure. Albeit I saw in the US, isn't the Oakland A's getting moved to Nevada?
Yep. Couple of switch ups are going possibly.
Which is a real shame, right? If you think, because that's the Billy Bean story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Billy Bean was the playoffs for. Yeah, it's baseball, but that's the playoffs
Moneyball.
for. Was it the
Moneyball.
Cubs? Who? Oh, that. Okay, yes, Billy Bean, Moneyball.
Billy Bean,
I was like, there's another
Moneyball.
Billy who in the playoffs knocked the ball in, caught a ball from a defender, and basically ruined, extended the curse for the Cubs. And I forgot what his last name was, but yeah, the Billy Bean Moneyball. Yeah.
That was the Oakland A's, right? So that's a huge piece of history being moved. Is it 500 miles away or whatever it is?
Yeah, at least it's and for a long time, Oakland shared with the football stadium, so you would see football played on partial. We talked about this before, SJ. Dirt, track, gravel areas. Good stuff to get tackled on. Just amazing. But there's some U.S. soccer teams that also share with baseball teams as well too. So it's like you don't want to do a slide tackle on that. That's you get the cheese grater on the side. To not take up too much of your time, Spencer, that we already have. SJ, do you have a bonus question you want to ask Spencer before he's out of here?
Well, I have a little comment and then a fun question. I just think, I've noticed that the kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say roar, but like there seems to be like a lot of talk about Ryan and Rob coming in, and then this impression that they're not fulfilling promises soon enough of their mission statement of what they're getting done. But it seems like the new CEO coming in, I think it's Rob, who said, we came in and we were like, we're going to do all this stuff. And then the new CEO came in and was like, yeah, but you need all this infrastructure to get there. And so I just think it's kind of cool that they're getting a different point of view and getting that infrastructure. And then you talked about stadium development. What kind of, what do you think was to be a realistic size that the communities could support to have for the stadium for the Cae Ras?
So, if you think that as part of the pitch when we were talking to Rob and Ryan, I always said to them, look, it's no. If you take the whole of North Wales, there's about 750,000 people in North Wales. And then if you take the sort of just over the border into the Marches and into Shropshire and the Chester area where we can draw support from, you can probably draw a sort of circle of around 1 million people who you could sort of target to try and to become long-term Wrexham supporters. And therefore, what is a realistic size of stadium to be able to sort of attract? I think in my mind, I think, and I'm probably being not ambitious enough, but I think around 25,000 seater stadium would be a good first step, as long as there was provision and space to be able to perhaps add another tier onto the stadium should we need it. For example, if we became a Premier League club and sustained that for a number of years, then I've always been of the mind that you have to build a team and sustain success for for an extended period, and then it becomes a habit for people. So, you wouldn't see too much if you'd got relegated or you went back down. You wouldn't see too much drop off because people get used to it. So I think you need a good 5-10 years at a level, and then it builds a new habit and your club is changed forever. So I think 25,000, would be a great size of stadium for us for the immediate future, with opportunities to go further. But who knows? Rob and Ryan may be more ambitious than that and think, do you know what? We can shoot for higher, and who would bet against them? Not me.
I think it's interesting that they're talking about not just more seats in the stand for people watching football, but also building in other spaces that can be used year round and kind of keep people coming to the stadium on a regular basis, so it's a habit to come, and having that increased infrastructure of better bathrooms have been called out, and shorter lines for concessions. And when it's made easier to access all those things, I feel like maybe that's where you can get more consistent fan base, because people are like, oh, I'm not just going to see the football, but I'm also going to have like a good day out with all this stuff that I can also do.
Well, we did have some questions from some viewers, some people on Twitter X. SJ, what was one of the questions?
Quick and easy, fun question. Have you ever met Tony the Tiger? That comes from John Craig.
Absolutely. I've been to. Obviously, I work for Kellogg's, or now Kellanova, but the Kellogg's branded company, which was a US started company in Battle Creek. And I've been to Battle Creek a number of times, and met Tony, Toucan Sam, and quite a number of the other characters whilst I've been there. So, yeah, Tony's a great guy.
There you go. How accurate was the Netflix movie Unfrosted?
It was a. Do you know, I've not seen it yet. You've reminded me that that's one I need to watch. So I did have it on my list. So I need to go back and re-look at it. Albeit, I was very lucky. The Kellogg company does like an awards piece, a values awards, and I was lucky enough to win that award for the European region a few years ago. And as a prize for that, you went to Battle Creek, and you went to go to the Kellogg Mansion, and then the award night was actually a meal at the Kellogg Mansion just outside of Battle Creek. So that was really, really interesting. Wow. to go to the mansion that he built, and to have a meal there, and yeah, it was really, really interesting. So you've reminded me, Ron, that's one I've definitely got to watch.
If you're a Seinfeld fan, you might enjoy yourself in that movie. There is another question that was doubled up. Simon Cryptic and Ruby Slippers Jess asked, let me see. That was what you presented earlier on. How did you get into the Jets? So we've covered that. He's from football royalty. All of his family played in the NFL, and we covered that legacy origin story for the hero. Simon did have a backup question, and it was similar to the Desert Island game, but as a Caribbean cruise aficionado that you are, if you had to take only one person, whether they're a player or a Wrexham personality from the area, onto a cruise with you, who would it be and why?
Wow, what a brilliant question. Who would I take with me? So I guess there's a couple couple of people who I think would be really good. So I'm not going to just pick one. I'll pick a couple of different people for different reasons. One would be Sean Pearson, who used to be our captain just before the takeover, and he's now the first team coach of Grimsby Town in League Two, and yeah, that he's just such a good guy. He was there through the COVID period, worked with us to do all the things that we needed to do to keep the club going during a very difficult time. So he's such a wonderful fella, family man, that I think he's no nonsense. I think you'd have a really good time with him. Who else? Somebody that you might know though from more recent past. You got to say I'd probably take Paul Mullin. Why? Oof. Because well, if you were with Paul Mullin, everybody would want to talk to you. So I think you'd have a great time because he's such a star, Welsh bull.
Yeah. And Sean Pearson, excellent person. I never got to see him play, but I've only heard great things about him around the community.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guy, and I was texting with him at the start of the season to wish him good luck before their first game, which they lost. But Grimsby won today away, I think. So he's had a good day today.
Yeah, old Odinstown, old Grimsby.
Yeah,
the Norse name, love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it Jordan Davies that is on loan at Grimsby?
That's right. That's where Jordan Davis is on loan, albeit he had that difficult hamstring injury, so he's out for a little while. But hopefully he's back playing because he'd made a fantastic start there. I'm sure that Sean would have been a big part of luring Jordan to Grimsby.
Yeah, and sad to see Jordan go, but. As the wonderful Davises of the world do, he's still shining. He's still him.
And you might recall in the first series, right, Grimsby knocked us out of the playoffs. Which was, but they've got some great fans, Grimsby. Actually, they get really great support, and their away fans are brilliant as well. So kudos to Grimsby.
Yeah, and. Can't say better words for and thanks SJ for bringing up one of our missed recent legends, Jordan. We will call it a day right now. We've taken up enough of your time. We'll have to grab you again for the final thoughts for you, Spencer. Was there anything else you wanted to share with anybody, local or international audience?
Just to say, great result down at Leyton Orient today. Really tough game to go there. They'd got 7 points out of their last 3 games, including going away to Stockport and winning 4-1. I thought we soaked up the pressure for the first 60 minutes. We could have lost it in that 60 minutes, but the last sort of 25 minutes, they were definitely hanging on. So we could very much well have won it as well. But it's a great point down in East London, and hopefully Max Cleworth, who sort of went down with an injury, isn't out for too long.
Yeah, ooh, that face of pain and the feeling inside my stomach. Ooh.
Yep.
Well, having 2 people that had to help support him to go off. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, those are always bad. The crowd gets a little bit more silent, and you're like, I hope they're back on their feet. I hope they're walking off. But seeing people needed to be supported by 2 people off a pitch is never a good sign.
No, but that could be precautionary as well. You never know how bad it is. I've done ankle ligaments a few times playing sport and different things. You probably, depends how bad it is, you're probably looking at 5 to 6 weeks, I would imagine.
Okay. Not the worst.
That's a guess, right? But it depends how bad it is. because you've got a few weeks out with it in a boot, and then you've got to get back fit. So
I'm
unfortunately,
hoping for a broken toe. Those heal quickly.
I think they've said ankle ligaments, so I think we're looking at mid-November would be my guess.
Look, Max. I'm not hoping for broken anything on you. Let me distinctly put myself in a different column, which is maybe you hyperextended something and it's not that big of a deal, and the inflammation just needs to come down. Well, like a good Wrexham season to season, welcome back to back, Spencer. We are going to see you again soon, friend of the pod. It was a pleasure having you on today. Got to get a lot more information about you and about the background of the sport and the game. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. Spencer.
It's a pleasure.
Harris.
Really nice to meet you too, SarahJane.
Yeah, thank you. I actually I do a little thing on our pod that pen pals, which some of the younger folks I don't know what that means, but I'm sure you do. And so I wanted to know if you wanted a little pen pal. I have stickers that I made for back to back. This one is a old program for 1953, so I made some little stickers.
Oh, fantastic! That would be amazing. So do I need to share?
Yeah.
Most importantly, a little teach me how to Wrexham sticker.
Do I need to share with you my address then?
Yeah, you can DM me on the Twitter, and we'll keep it secret.
And you could send it to the pod too, or
Twitter,
SJ. I'll
SarahJane.
SJANEY.
SJAN.
So like SarahJane. EY Wrexham.
Okay, SJANE Wrexham. Yeah.
Yep, that's me. It's my little icons, a blue flower.
We always have to give some what would you call it? Not a bribe, but incentive to come back, please.
A strong encouragement.
Okay, so I will be about for Huddersfield, so perhaps if you drop me a DM, I'll look to sort of perhaps meet up at some point that weekend.
Hey,
nice.
There you go. And then SJ just checking all the wish list boxes off right there.
I know. Our friend of the pod, Simon, is coming from Australia for the first time ever, leaving the country with his sister and brother-in-law. So we timed it. My partner's coming, and we're going to have a little askWxm meetup.
Fantastic then. Perhaps we could meet up. So let me know what your schedule is. There's some really lovely places to go in the local area.
You're having all the fun. Not jealous. I'm happy for you. You're having all the fun. Well, Spencer, again, thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to talking to you again. Go Jets. We wish you the best success this weekend because you're not playing the Cardinals.
Hey, they've started well. They've started pretty well. The quarterback's doing really good.
They did.
Doing really good things.
They did.
Should have beaten the Bills, though. Should have beaten the Bills. That would have been great for us in the East, AFC.
There were opportunities.
The Bills.
Yeah, and there was moments where could have at least tied it up, but it is what it is. It's a good start, better start than we've had.
I know I keep
recently,
dragging you back in, but the Jets are in London next weekend. So I'm going to the Northampton home game and then heading on the train down to watch the Jets play the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, yeah. Those are big games too when they're played because
it's 60,000 at the top. It's been played at the Tottenham Stadium, so 60, it's not as big as the Jet Life, right? Jet Life's 90 plus, so.
Right. Yeah, it's for the UK stadiums, that's a
big
that's
size,
a nice size
for UK. There's not that many bigger than that. Wembley's bigger, of course, but there's not many bigger than that. So.
The,
Yeah, well,
the jet life sounds very posh. Like, oh, maybe
Yeah, well,
the jet
it's
life.
called obviously it's called
it's
obviously,
the like life
obviously it's called the
insurance.
MetLife, but
Yeah.
it grinds the gears of Giants fans if you call it the Jet Life. See, it's that's what it should be known as, and it looks much better in green than it does in blue. So
You have to do it. There's no other way. Any opportunity you get to just rub a little bit more salt
yeah,
into
because
the
the
opposition team,
Giants
that's
suck
you
at
have
the
to do it.
moment. They're really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. And it used to be all the
Yeah,
jokes used to be
absolutely.
pointed at the
I'm
Jets,
sure they
so.
still will be at some point during the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. SarahJane, have a wonderful weekend. Spencer, good luck tomorrow. And for me, I have been Spencer for hire. The 80s babies that are out there that know the reference, you know the reference. Those that you don't, just keep on thinking about me the same way you always have, as a joke. Well, like we say every day, every time, up the town!
Up the town.